Good morning, Shabbat Shalom. This week we begin the fourth book of the Torah. And if you look at the 4 books of the Torah, the first book is about who. Who did God choose? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Leah, and all of their descendants, the Jewish people. The second book of the Torah is what? What does God want from the family of Abraham and his descendants? And the answer is, of course, God gave us the Torah in the book of Exodus. He took us out of Egypt, said, I'm going to take you to the land of Israel, and you will be my people, and you will observe my Torah. The third book of the Torah is Vayikra, which is the how of Judaism. How are we supposed to bring God into the world and serve Him? And the answer is through offering sacrifices, which today the substitute is prayer, because the word karban is from the word karov, which means near, closeness, through the heart, through the meditation of the heart, by putting our heart and our love for God into everything we do. And now we come to the fourth book of the Torah. And the fourth book of the Torah is the where of Judaism. Where should we serve God? And the answer is Bamidbar, in the desert, which is counterintuitive. We usually think that God can only be served in a holy place, like in Israel or Jerusalem. But God chooses to give us the Torah in the desert, teaching us a very fundamental lesson. Sometimes we look at our environment, we look at the world around us, and we say it's a wilderness, it's a wasteland. There's so much evil in the world. And that God says, precisely, that's where I want you to serve me. That's where I want you to elevate the world through the Torah, through the commandments, through mitzvot. And that's why precisely God chose to give the Torah not in the land of Israel, but in a desert, in a wilderness. And indeed, when we come to the 5th book of the Torah, we find something remarkable. Today is Jerusalem Reunification Day. The 28th day of Iyar on the Hebrew calendar was the day that in 1967, after the miraculous victory of Six-Day War, Israel recaptured Yerushalayim and the Western Wall. And while the world may call it occupied territory, it's actually liberated territory, because it's apart for many years, and they fall into each other's arms and embrace with love, and they're reconnected and reunited. The Jewish people were alienated, were exiled from their land for 2,000 years, and we came back and liberated our homeland, our lover, who we yearned to be with for thousands of years, and always said after every Passover Seder and after every Yom Kippur service, the Shana Haba, next year, Yerushalayim, we should be back into Jerusalem. So today is the day when the miracle 56 years ago occurred, that after 1900 years of exile, the Jewish people came back to our homeland and to Yerushalayim and to the Western Wall. But what's fascinating is that in the book of Deuteronomy, 21 times Yerushalayim is referred to, but never by name. The word Yerushalayim is not found in the Torah. It just says you will go to the place that God has chosen. Why doesn't it say Yerushalayim? And one of the intimations and the powerful lessons is that God is teaching us that there's a geographical Jerusalem, and then there's Jerusalem, the holiness of Jerusalem, that you can create anywhere and everywhere, even in a wilderness. When you bring the divine presence into your life, into the world, into your home, into your community, into your sanctuary that you will build in a synagogue, wherever it may be in the world, in every far-flung corner of the earth, that becomes Jerusalem. That becomes holiness, because Jerusalem is not just a city, it's a state, it's a spiritual state of being, where the focal point is God and our love for Hashem and for mankind, and holiness, and imbuing the wilderness and the wasteland and transforming it into a holy place. There's a story about how when Israel was lobbying the world to create a homeland for the Jewish people, and Chaim Weizmann, who later became the first president of Israel, was standing in front of the British House of Lords and petitioning for the creation of the state of Israel. And one of the lords said in the British Parliament, said, why do you need to go back to the Middle East, such a war-torn place filled with bloodshed and violence, a very, very difficult history there? Why don't you go start a Jewish homeland after the Holocaust? Why don't you go to Uganda, a nice quiet place? And Chaim Weizmann said to the Lord, British Lord, that's like if I would ask you, why did you travel 20 miles this past Sunday to go visit your mother when there are a lot of nice old ladies living on your own street? We chose Jerusalem because God chose Jerusalem for us at the beginning of creation, at the beginning of time. And we've come back to it. And when the world says, why are you here? We say, because this is the place that God has chosen for us. And therefore we are liberating and coming back to our spouse, to our lover, to our ancient homeland, the land that we never lost hope and faith of returning to. Have a Shabbat Shalom and happy Jerusalem Reunification Day.